Okay, what we're going to talk about in this tutorial is how to expand a logarithm. In this case, I'm going to try to expand the logarithm log base 3 of 4p over q. Now, in order to expand this logarithm, I have to take into account two properties of logarithms, which I have listed here. So anytime we are multiplying two pieces, as I can see here, if I'm expanding the log, I'm going to do so by creating the sum of two logs. Whereas anytime I am dividing two pieces within a log, I'm going to expand it by doing the difference of two logs. So I'm going to use those two properties to expand this example here. And one thing that I want to address here is I know that I'm going to end up with a total of three different logs because I essentially have three parts here. I have a 4, I have a p, and I have a q. So when I'm done expanding, those three things are going to be completely separate. So let's start with the top. As I look at the 4 and the p, I can see that those two things are being multiplied. 4 and p are being multiplied. So by my first property listed here, I'm going to separate that into the sum of two logs. So that's going to give me log base 3 of 4 plus log base 3 of p. So I'm done with the top. Now what I want to do is I want to take a look at the bottom. Since the bottom is being divided, I'm dividing by q here. I'm going to use the second property, which tells me that anytime I have a quotient within a log, what I want to do is I want to turn that into the difference of two logs. So therefore, I'm going to subtract log base 3 of q. And I'm done. That's it. So my final answer here I'm going to have, if I expand this, is log base 3 of 4 plus log base 3 of p minus log base 3 of q. That's it. Now let's take a look at a slightly more complicated example. In this example, I'm going to expand log base m of the square root of 5r cubed over z to the fifth. So this is quite a bit more difficult than the one we saw on the previous slide. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this out of what we call radical form and create rational exponents. So in order to do that, I'm going to take my radical and think of it as a 1/2 power. So this is going to give me 5 to the 1/2 r to the 3 over 2 over z to the 5 over 2. So again, what I've done here is I've thought of it as the square root as a 1/2 power, and I've sent that to all three terms. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the two properties that we used on the previous page to expand this into three separate logs. So I'm going to separate the 5, the r, and the z. So in order to do that, I'm going to turn the 5 and the r into a sum of two logs. So I'm going to have log base m of 5 to the 1/2 plus log base m of r to the 3/2. Now, since the z to the 5/2 is being divided, I'm going to use the property where I will subtract log base m of z to the 5/2. Now, this has been expanded, but it hasn't been expanded completely, because in order for it to be completely expanded, what I'm going to have to do with my three powers is I'm going to have to drop my powers out in front of the log. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take 1/2 and drop it in front. So I'm going to have 1/2 log base m of 5 plus 3/2 log base m of r minus 5/2 log base m of z. Now I'm